Hey there. If you've ever looked at someone you deeply care about and realized they'll never see you the way you see them, this video is for you. Let's talk about the friend zone. Not the meme, not the joke. The real, painful, confusing space where you give your time, your energy, your heart, and get nothing back. She tells you you're amazing, that you're such a good guy, that she wishes more men were like you. And yet, she never chooses you. She texts you late at night when she's bored or lonely. She vents about other guys. She says you get her, but still, she doesn't want you. You're stuck in the friend zone. And here's the hard truth. You put yourself there. But don't click away, because that might be the best news you've heard all week.
I used to believe that if I was kind enough, supportive enough, patient enough, she'd eventually see me. I thought love was earned. That if I was always there, always listening, always being a good guy, one day she'd wake up and realize I was the one. She didn't. She never would. I was there when she cried over someone else, when she waited for a guy who ignored her. I gave her advice I wished she'd use on me. I answered every message. I was always available. But she never saw me as more than a friend. And deep down, I knew it. Still, I stayed. Because I hoped. Because I was scared to lose even that little piece of her attention. I stayed without any knowledge about why it happens.
I used to think love was something you earned, that if I just kept showing up, patient, supportive, kind, she'd eventually see me. She'd wake up one day, realize I was the one who truly cared, and everything would finally click. So I waited. I listened to her cry about other guys. I picked up her calls at 2 a.m. I complimented her, encouraged her, and made her laugh. She said I was her safe space, her favorite person, but never the one she wanted. Still, I stayed because I thought being the good guy would pay off eventually, because I didn't know how to walk away, because some attention felt better than none, even if it hurt. And the worst part, I blamed her for not noticing me, for not choosing me, for not seeing what I thought was obvious. But deep down, I knew the truth. She wasn't confused. She just didn't feel that way about me. And I didn't give her any reason to. I was too afraid to be honest, too afraid to risk the friendship, too afraid to be rejected, so I never gave her the chance to reject me directly. I thought I was being noble, but really, I was being passive, waiting, hoping, quietly resenting. And the longer I stayed, the more I lost myself, not because she mistreated me, but because I betrayed my own desire in silence. And that's how I built my own cage and called it loyalty. But then it hit me, the harsh reality, the harsh truth about Friendzone.
Here's the truth you don't want to hear. You weren't friend-zoned. You volunteered. You stepped into that space hoping that being nice enough would eventually earn you love. But love doesn't work that way. You can't perform your way into someone's heart. You can't show up endlessly, silently hoping and expect that someday she'll see the light. That's not love. That's emotional gambling. And the more you try to prove your worth, the more invisible you become. You're not being noble. You're not being romantic. You're avoiding rejection. And by doing that, you've already been rejected. You just haven't accepted it yet. Let that land. Because this is the part where most guys get stuck. They confuse patience with passivity and kindness with submission. They think chasing harder will eventually flip the script. But if you watch my other video, Stop Chasing, Start Attracting, you already know this. Real attraction doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to presence, to clarity, to energy that says, I don't need to be chosen. I choose. But when you're in the friend zone, you've surrendered that power. You become the background character in your own story. You're waiting to be picked, like some reward for loyalty. And that's the real tragedy. Not that she didn't choose you, but that you didn't choose yourself. You stayed in a space that slowly killed your self-respect, all because it felt safer than walking away. But safety isn't the same thing as love, and quiet suffering isn't the same thing as strength. You don't get points for staying in a situation that drains you. You don't get love by denying your own needs. You just lose time, energy, and eventually a sense of who you are. So here's the harsh truth one more time. She didn't lie to you. You lied to yourself. But don't criticize yourself for that. There are the good news too.
Okay, take a breath, because here's the part no one tells you. If you put yourself in the friend zone, you can take yourself out. And no, I don't mean by convincing her to like you. I mean by no longer needing her to. See, once you realize that you created this pattern by staying quiet, by avoiding risk, by living on crumbs, you also realize that you hold the power to stop repeating it. And that's the good news. This isn't about her anymore. It's about you. You get to stop playing the role of the guy who waits, the guy who hopes, the guy who proves himself. And you start becoming the man who expresses what he wants and walks away when it's not returned. That's not cold. That's not giving up. That's clarity. It's the difference between chasing love and attracting it, between needing approval and standing in your worth. Remember, women don't fall for men who orbit them. They're drawn to men who lead their lives with direction, presence, and self-respect. And that starts when you stop asking, how do I make her want me? And start asking, why am I giving so much to someone who clearly doesn't? It starts when you stop apologizing for having desires, when you stop shrinking yourself to be harmless, when you stop acting like your love is some prize she needs to figure out. The truth is, she already decided. And now, so can you. You can choose yourself. Not in a bitter way, not to teach her a lesson, but because you finally understand what your time, energy, and heart are worth. That's the shift. Not from friend to lover, but from someone who waits to someone who walks. And that's when everything changes.
So how do you actually get out of the friend zone? Here's the answer most guys avoid because it feels too simple, too final, too real. You leave. You let go. You stop hoping for something that isn't mutual. That's it. You don't give one last gift. You don't write a long message explaining how much she means to you. You don't try to make her jealous or prove her wrong. You just choose yourself and walk. Because staying in a space where you are not wanted doesn't make you loyal. It makes you unavailable to someone who might actually want you back. See, the longer you stay, the more you teach yourself that your feelings don't matter, that you don't deserve to be chosen without begging for it. And that belief doesn't just stay in one relationship. It bleeds into everything. Your self-worth, your confidence, your future. That's why the exit isn't just about her. It's about breaking a pattern. It's about standing up and saying, I am no longer available for one-sided situations. I am no longer begging to be seen. I would rather be alone than ignored while pretending I'm fine with it. You don't escape the friend zone by waiting for her to change her mind. You escape by realizing yours has already changed. You see things now. You see how long you held on, how much of yourself you gave away, and how little you asked for in return. And you forgive yourself for the waiting, for the hoping, for the quiet pain you carried like a secret.
Then you walk away, not to punish her, not to prove anything, but to finally reclaim your voice. Because you're not a placeholder. You are not someone's maybe someday. You are someone who deserves clarity, presence, and love that shows up fully, not halfway. So stop waiting to be chosen. Choose yourself, and don't look back. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.